Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Good afternoon, good evening, welcome to BWTM Sports. This video will not contain Bermane Stiverne himself. For those people who are expecting him to come back and speak with humble pie, sorry to disappoint you, but what I do have here is an apology from Bermane Stiverne, which he put on his Instagram page earlier today. It says, to my friends, to my family, friends, fans, supporters, and my camp, I want to thank you for always rocking with me through the highs and the lows. Although the fight didn't turn out in our favor, please know that your dedicated support means a lot to me, and I am grateful for it all. My commitment and sacrifices to the sport has never been less than 100%. It just wasn't my night. No excuses. Back to the drawing board. Hashtag Team Stiverne, Bermane Stiverne. So that is basically what Bermane Stiverne or his team have put out on his Instagram page. It's we can hear you a bit tiny sounding. Okay, I'm trying to work it out here. I'm using this new. I'm trying to see if I can get your speakers working. Let me see what I can do for you people. Let's try this one. Sounds any better? If it sounds worse, then I'm just using an old laptop. So you're gonna have to bear with me. I'm very sorry, people. This video, fans, support. So that is basically working out here. I'm using this new. I'm trying to see if I can get the speakers work. Let me see what I can do for you people. So I don't know if you can still hear me here, and the sound isn't great. My apologies, but sounds worse, he says. Let me see here. See, I'm trying to work this out here because using an old computer here. So that is. No, we're going to go back to where we were before. My real apologies for this. Typical. Sound, but that's what I'm going to have to work with. That's what I'm working with at the moment. So, for those who didn't hear, I'll say it again for you. Just in case you didn't hear what I said, I will say it again, just to repeat it. It's what Bermane Stiverne put on his Instagram. Yeah, my laptop the night Bermane got knocked up by Wilder, and hours later my screen went. So that punch went all the way through and hit my laptop. So I'm using this old laptop for a while, so please bear with me. So again, I'll repeat what Bermane said. To all my fans, family, friends, supporters, and my camp, I want to thank you for always rocking with me through the highs and the lows. Although the fight didn't turn out in our favor, please know that your dedicated support means a lot to me, and I am grateful for it all. My commitment and sacrifices to the sport has never been less than 100%. I just wasn't right. It just wasn't my night. No excuses. Back to the drawing board. Team Stiverne, Bermane Stiverne. So that's where it is. There are some people in it. There are some people. Yeah, it's a statement that Bermane Stiverne put on his Instagram page. There are some people that want blood. Some people have even stupidly suggested that I should shut the channel down because he got knocked out. It was never the Bermane Stiverne channel. It was somebody that grew close to the channel, obviously, because he was on a lot of the times and we were a part of the build-up for the fight. But he's put his statement out here, and I'm sure at some point in time, I'm sure we'll get to talk to Bermane. It was a devastating defeat. Devastating. And all these people that are talking at the moment and saying, oh, you know, Stiverne did this and Stiverne did that, and so, you know, if you were ever knocked out in a round as brutal as that, it'd be interesting to see how you would respond. So many people expecting the best of you. I'm not going to do that. That's not cool. It's not professional. But I'm going to try and dissect kind of what the message is here through this. Well, first of all, he's saying he's obviously addressing all the people that mean something to him. Then he basically saying thank you to the people who've been by his side. Then he's admitting the fight didn't turn out his way. He says, my commitment and sacrifice to the sport has never been less than 100%. Well, it's interesting he puts that there because a lot of people that are questioning Stiverne are questioning his weight, are questioning he didn't even turn up to the fight. But he says he was dedicated and he was 100% and he made the sacrifice. So if he's saying that he's given his best and that's what he's come up with, that's down to him and his camp. He's saying back to the drawing board. So to me, that doesn't sound to me like a man that is going to be retiring. That doesn't sound like a man to me that's going to give up the fight. That doesn't sound like a man to me that is gonna disappear into the sunset. That sounds to me like a guy that is going to come back. He's going to dust himself up and come again. But that's part of being a champion. You know, people think that being unbeaten and having an unbeaten record is being a champion. No, being a champion it's not how hard or how difficult or how easy it is for you to knock somebody out, but for you to get knocked out and then to come back from being knocked out and then climb again to the top, that is something. That'll be something, and that will take a lot of courage to do that, and it will take a lot of internal strength. And can he do it? It's not for me to say, but certainly there are a lot of people who've got a lot of things to say about this situation. It looks like Stiverne's going to continue fighting, but I can understand what people are saying. I mean, yeah, people are gutted because there were people here that actually wanted him to do well. So let me start from the top of this live chat very quickly and get into this. We've got Stephanie Hopkins that says, we all knew Bermane wasn't there to fight when he couldn't be bothered to talk in his interviews. I'm sure he was stoned for the week. Miss Cortez says, wow. Pekka Decker says, hi, Belloric. Mikey says, very good of Bermane to at least apologize. We won't turn on him like many have. I respect him for coming out and facing the music. Of course. What am I going to turn on him for? What for? I blame the WBC as much as Stiverne. Ridiculous situation. Yeah, Gail, I understand. Should Stiverne have been fighting Wilder for WBC Championship of the World? We can all be saying hindsight. Well, you know, the people that wanted him to fight were people who were just supporting his cause. But in all honesty, I thought it was probably a better move for him to fight Brazil. Dominic Brazil. I think he should have fought with Dominic Brazil and stuck with that decision to fight Dominic Brazil rather than fight Wilder. You know, you just wonder what would happen if he fought Dominic Brazil. But you know, that is, you know, it's all if, buts, and maybes. We know what happened, and it was brutal. Yeah, I apologize for the sound, Gail. I'm gonna have to do something about this because it's not very good. It's not good enough. Beware deserves respect for getting in the ring with Wilder. 2 years out of the ring and 1 month's notice. He can bounce back there, and some good fights out there for Bermane. Yeah, I know, but you know, that's a year of training. That's a year of training, you know, and that's a year he's been preparing for Wilder. You've got to ask yourself, how much has Bermane got left? I mean, there's lots of things he's going to have to overcome now. You know, his punch resistance, him getting knocked out like that for the first time in his career. Does that mean that the Derek Rossi knockdown was more than what it seemed now? And, you know, but the application when he was coming to the ring, he didn't look like a man fired up to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He looked like he was elsewhere. But, you know, I've watched all his videos and truly believed he was talented, but please, says Dr. Dredd, Dr. Dredd, I blasted Joe Joyce and almost placed a bet. Not even a full round, please. Yeah, he got hit clean by Deontay. Mikey says, sounds like he's not hanging them up. Hope he cuts some weight, and if he has some ambition, come back and be in good fights at top 20 level. Why Brazil, etc. Yeah, I think so. But what I'd like to see Stiverne in 3 fights back to back to back. And let's see what he looks like after 3 fights. Fighting regularly, not once a year or once every 2 years. Fight once a year and see a fight 3 times in the year if you can do that. They don't have to be big fights, but let's see him on the road fighting regularly. So he's got his weight down, and he's got 3 fights ahead of him in 2018. And let's see where he's at the end of 2018. Stiverne made Wilder look better than he is. Let me tell you something. That right hand is a potent right hand, and you know, we'll see who can stand up to that power afterwards going forward. The dehydration loss has taken Stiverne mentally, hasn't been right. That's interesting. You know, I don't know. Well, according to one of Wilder's supporters, they felt, and close supporters, they felt that he took too many punches in the first fight, and that's why he is where he is today. You can't argue with that. And he is 40, so that could be a factor as well. DJ Slick, and this is something that I just think is kind of coarse and very unthoughtful. But anyway, your opinion. We want to hear him in the room himself. No coward statements. He's got to show his face. And then we got to go in and make sure he knows the deal. No more sugarcoating from him. We're going to rip him apart. Really? Really? Is that really necessary? Really? Stiverne should fight Lewison. Mikey's Ingram won't turn on Bermane. I won't, and the real fans won't. Bermane has given us great interviews, which I respect him. Then Tube says Stiverne shouldn't fight anymore. He didn't look mentally right. He hasn't looked right in the ring since the dehydration. Interesting. Tubes, it's a bad boxes, I agree. Normal Stiverne would have KO'd Rossi easily. Okay. Fighting again. Face the facts. Dr. Dredd says he got knocked out because he was unfit, overweight, and no business being in the ring. And then Mike Z basically confirmed it. Bad Bart says Bermane seems like he's got some mental issues. He seems like he believes what he says, which is obviously ludicrous. There's nowhere to go. He's done. Well, that's an opinion. And then Mikey says, I don't want to see him in the ring if he arrives in bad shape again. If he actually gets back to optimal fighting weight and is mentally fixed on this sport, he can return. Both big ifs. A lot of people got a lot to say in the room. Wow. Wow. Doctor, he didn't throw one punch. I mean, please. I think he did. He threw a couple of jabs. Adam Scott says, anyone can look stupid in the heavyweight boxing. Not the end of the world. Tomorrow brings another day. Adam Scott, always the person that brings some sort of balanced view in the room. I'm not sure Bermane is in love with boxing no more. It's interesting, Tubes. Captain BS says he should quietly go about his work. I suggest that too. No bigger, just get back to work. They'll have to, I think, 60 or 90 days before he can come back and fight again. So let him take Christmas off and then be back in February time. I don't know where he goes at 39. He has got the time. Has he got the time drive to push for another world title shot? But you got to think to yourself, him getting knocked out like that opens as much opportunities as it does to close them. I mean, okay, he got knocked out by Wilder, but nearly everyone gets knocked out by Wilder. So, you know, would for example, the winner of the WBA title, would they be interested in fight? I mean, would, now that he's been knocked out in the first round, other people might have a try, want to have a go. That may be interesting. AO says, Stiverne needs to assess where he wants to box. He's made enough money to open a business. Well, I think he wants to put that money towards the people in Haiti. So he wants to do some work there. And Mikey said, Bermane will come back and pick up a few more checks. Would be sad to see him come back and get himself absolutely pummeled, though. He's better than that. Stiverne versus Price or Stiverne versus Chisora, last chance saloon. I think if Stiverne's going to come to the UK, he needs to get some sort of a momentum going. I wouldn't just come to the UK for the sake of coming to the UK. He would have lost against Charles Martin, says Max. He came in, the way he came in, he would have lost against Brazil too. I think, yeah, mine wasn't on the job. Bermane really did look on another planet, the way he looks. Plus, he's turning 40, not 25. It's not looking good. Do you think possibly being out of the ring for so long and then finally, you know, you're going back to the ring to fight, and he just realized what it all meant, and it hadn't meant, the moment really got to him, and he really didn't understand what was going on until he was in the arena. That's when he realized what he was fighting, what he was doing. I don't know. I've got no idea. But something that Bashir said that was very interesting. Bashir turned around and he said, in our post-fight show, he said categorically, I don't like people in my dressing room before I prepare for a fight or pre-fight in the dressing room. So is this suggesting that something happened in the dressing room before the fight? I don't know. Mikey says, we will see if Bermane has the ambition to come back. Should take a couple of fast fights, like Ingram said, will show us he's back and ready to take the sport on seriously. Stiverne versus Chisora, anybody? You know what? Chisora Stiverne was a fight that I spoke to Don Charles about years ago. They said they'd love that fight. But Charles has a lot of respect for Stiverne. There's lots of people got lots of things. I apologize. This, if I can't get through to you all, I'm sorry. I'm going to take the time. I want him to do well. Watching all the interviews on BWTM, seems like a nice guy, and I hope he's well. Well, look, one of the things I think was achieved is that we got to find out more of about a fighter. We really got in depth and really followed the fighter's journey. You know, had it gone well that night and he'd become WBC champion of the world, we would have been following that guy from the time he lost the championship to the time he won the championship back. And what a great story that would have been. It didn't work out for Bermane, but we still followed the fighter's journey. And I think that's something that we kind of, some of us taken for granted. And I don't mean taken for granted because we did the interview. I think, or it wasn't an interview, it was a journey. So let's not say they were interviews. There was conversations, right? And I think we're missing the point here, what it was all about. It was about following a person's journey. And like I've always said, BWTM or Baylor or Wide or however you want to look at it, bringing the world closer to you. You could sit down and you could watch and you could ask questions to that fighter. And you could say Saturday night, for a lot of you who didn't know Bermane Stiverne or didn't know what he was about, his character, you were sitting there Saturday night, you said, I've seen that guy. I've spoken to that guy. He's answered my questions. And there was a connection there. So there were people who viewed BWTM Sports, felt actually invested in him. They were personally invested. So when he got knocked out the way he did, I understand totally why some people feel very angry and upset and hurt and embarrassed by what's happened. I get that. I understand that. But I can't make excuses for what a man did. I didn't tell him how to throw his punches. I didn't train him. I didn't put him in the ring. I didn't do any of that. I just did the interview. I think that's where people have to separate, their personal emotions and feelings to what the product is. The product, or what BWTM is, to provide a service so that you're able to get closer to that fighter. That's what it is. And that's what was provided. So I'm not making an excuse. I'm sort of kind of explaining things in a manner which I hope people kind of understand. Let's go on with these rest of these questions. Mikey says, we need to consider Bermane has taken 2 absolute horrendous losses. One fight with an absolute vicious beating, then got floored by a journeyman, and now has been KO'd in a round. His body has deteriorated a lot. The other question is the trainer. I mean, is Don House a good trainer? Just asking. Is he a good trainer? I don't know. We've got to ask that question as well, boxing fans. I'd like to see Bermane come in at 235, 240, get back to basics. Hands up, don't shoot. Ha ha. Okay, nice seeing the room. Here we go. Don't you feel like he wasted your time after all those interviews saying he was going to do this and that? You were one of the first people I thought about when he got knocked out. Yeah, like I think I explained that early on. No, I don't think it was a waste of time, because it wasn't for me. This wasn't for me, because it was just for me. I could have sat at the end of a telephone and just spoke to him and be done with it. This was an opportunity for people to get closer. I mean, look, Liam Cameron won the title the other night. I don't hear anybody saying anything about Liam Cameron winning the title. I mean, we've interviewed Keith Thurman, we've interviewed Terence Crawford, we interviewed Tyson Fury before he became world champion. I mean, you win some and you lose some, but I think in winning and in losing, the most thing you don't want to be known, or I don't want to be known, or the station doesn't want to be known as just following champions. And as soon as a person loses, you delete them. I mean, that's unprofessionalism. That's not right. I mean, that's just no, can't do it. Sorry. So no, I don't think it wasted time. I think it was a learning experience for us all. I think it was. I wonder if a change in training would suit Bermane. A new lease of life and direction, go full time with James Ali Bashir would ensure he's mentally on it and good shape. I would like to see that, actually. Weird to last 12 rounds last time out and to take a dive in round 1. I don't know about the dive. Matt Scamillo says, I knew he wasn't prepared at the weigh-in. He should have come in at 220, 240 or lighter. Okay. I agree, Max. I also felt for England when Bermane got drilled. It was sad to watch. Yeah, it was. He's better off staying away from the ring, says Graham M. Probably would have LOL. Like Stiverne as a person, but he's pretty much stood still and got KO'd, says Jordan Anderson. Interesting. Bad Bart says, you're a good man. I appreciate your loyalty to Bermane and the way you haven't hid from the result. And I agree that it looks bad since he had a year to train. In the history books, Charles Martin was heavyweight champion. Blah, yeah, he was. And so was Bermane, first Asian heavyweight champion. So he did a lot there. Let's call it as it is. Bermane has to go down as a lucky WBC champion. Bernard, hello, good to see you in the room. He beat Areola, who has proven he's not exactly world level. I think he got... Hold on. He beat Areola, who has proven he is not exactly world level. He got the luck of the draw. Well, I don't think it was that bad. I think when he fought Areola, the only guy to beat Areola at the time was Vitaly Klitschko. And at that time, before he fought Vitaly Klitschko, going back in time, check the history, Areola was one of the best heavyweights in the world. At the time, Areola was one of the best heavyweights in the world. He's been put in the same breath as fighting David Haye. We've got to go back in time and look at where people were at the time. Like a lot of people backed Ariola to beat Stiverne that night, and before going back before that, Vitaly Klitschko was meant to fight Stiverne 3 times, and all the times that he was meant to fight Stiverne, 3 times they negotiated, and 3 times, 2 or 3 times, Vitaly Klitschko pulled out of that. So that was time wasting there as well. Not saying Stiverne would have beaten Vitaly Klitschko or anything like that. What I am saying is that Ariola, at the time when Stiverne fought him, was still a recognized heavyweight and a very good heavyweight. Ariola at the time, he was still a respected heavyweight. So I can't really buy that now. We're all looking in. We've got to look at, when you look at a fighter, look at the time when they were fighting, what was going on at the time, where they were ranked in the division. I think he was ranked #1 at the time. Ariola, #1 contender. He fought himself back up to #1 contender spot. So you know, it is what it is. That's who he fought at the time. I wouldn't call that lucky. He beat Ariola. He actually knocked Ariola out. In fact, he did something that the great Vitaly Klitschko couldn't do, which is knock Ariola out. So it was a good performance. So I won't accept the thing that he was trash and all that stuff. I think him not fighting didn't help. But thank you for your comment anyway, Bernard. His only motivation was hating WADA, but in reality, he has nothing left. That's interesting. Someone's been injecting oranges again. Okay. I thought Bermane was a cold, miserable man. England's interviews gave Bermane a platform to see his personality, humour, and intelligence. There we go, Tubes. And this is something I want to make a point about as well. I really want to talk about this. If you look at social media today, particularly in the big stations, who've got, and you know the agendas and major stations, they will give you sound bites, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and edit up, and you don't really get to see what the character's all about. So they just, you get the character based on what the person in the edit team or their agenda is. So they're going to paint you as the bad guy. They'll take all the moments where you're vulnerable or you're saying things that are not correct or not right or may not look great in the public's eye, and then post the things out about you. Like, you know, for example, Chisora is a madman, he's off his rocker, he's this, he's that. But I can tell you some stories about Chisora that you would have lost your rocker as well had you seen what was going on behind the scenes. So I just think that your media, like I said, those who control the media control the minds. And yeah, so we're kind of responsible in a sense for you to have had that, build that relationship with Bermane Stiverne. And again, I think that's a good thing. That means we did a good job because we did what we wanted to do. Bring you closer to a fighter, we did that. So hey, a sports psychologist might help Bermane. It did for Froch some good after the first Groves fight. Okay. Interviews in BWTM aren't always focused on winners. Ingram covers many fighters who take losses, but we get exclusives we wouldn't know without the BWTM platform. End of the day, it is positive. Yeah, I guess it is. Thank you. And I would like to make this clear. Stiverne losing hasn't got anything to do with Ingram or BWTM. So any nonsense about deleting the challenge, Ingram isn't fighting for Bermane. I know. He's only the platform to allow him to speak and give us access. Hold on. So in that case, then Takam should delete. Takam should be Sky Sports should shut their channel down for fighters that get knocked out and beaten on their channel. Stupidness, real stupidness. Tubes, hands up, don't shoot. Tubes, I never watched the fight, just a replay, and after hearing it went 1 round. I was glad. I never hyped myself. Enjoyed Bisping versus GSP though. Well, look at Bisping. He got crap beaten out of him as well. Maybe not as quickly, but he did. Mike Clem says, all that time off, why was he in such bad shape coming into a world title fight? You'd expect him to be coming to fight in top shape. These are questions that eventually, well, the first person we're going to go and ask is Don House. What the hell was the weight about? So at some point, we're going to try and bring Don House and find out what's going on. She's always Stiverne's a big laid back dude who can fight a bit. Seems like he just fell into boxing, doesn't love it. Okay. Dr. says BWTM's quality, the interviewers are A1, but the box unfortunately is or was done. He says Ingram preach, we felt connected to Stiverne and the fight. Wow, there's a lot of people in the room. I have to apologize, people. I'm going to get through all your questions. I always root for fighters that come on BWTM. It's a special link in creates between fighters and reviewers. So when we get when they get knocked out, I feel emotional. Saturday night was very sad. Yep, it's very sad. Nice to recover from it. Yeah. You have to be honest though, England. Bermane did sell us a dream. He promised us things and said to us and ended up doing the opposite, which you said yourself, the tactics he used has made the loss worse. But was I not? People said that my commentary was biased. I said at the beginning of the fight, look, if Stiverne stands on the outside, allows Wilder to bow and arrow him, which is the left jab and the right hand straight down the middle, well, he deserves to get knocked out. I said it. You know, it is what it is. You stand on the outside, you allow a guy to throw his punch from the back of the arena and land on you, well, you deserve it. Considering you fought this man before, considering you've spent a year in training camp, considering you did all that head movement and training, you had no business standing right in front of that guy and getting knocked out. And then coming in at 250 pounds or 254 pounds and saying you're okay in weight. So there's nothing biased about that. It is what it is. I said he had to get on his chest quickly. Don't allow Wilder to get the right hand off. Get on the inside and fight Wilder. Didn't happen. He got knocked out. And that's being honest. I don't know what more people want me to say. People want me to sit down and say, yeah, Stiverne's looking great in the fight. Oh, he's got knocked out. No, I'm not going to say that, am I? I could see from the start. So it is what it is. Talking about he wouldn't do this and he wouldn't do that, but ends up doing it. Exactly. And I didn't fight for Stiverne. It's weird in hindsight, DJ. Bermane seemed very confident in the interviews, but on fight night, he seemed like he looked like a ghost. Very, very bizarre. Perhaps occasion got to him and he was mentally shocked. I don't get was when he came to the arena, there was something wrong. If you go back and look at the fight again, before the way he came to the arena, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. And he was when he was coming to the ring, he looked like he'd seen a ghost as well. It just didn't seem like he was there. Like he just mentally shut down. It's not the loss, it's the manner of it. Disgusting. Plus a year on coming into that shape. Not professional at all. Should go have a belly contest with Lewison. 2 years out of the ring for that. What's your personal opinion on Dubois? Is he the future of the heavyweight division? Let's see him get hit on the chin first. I always admire Bermane for exposing Eddie Hearn's liars. LOL. Yeah, that was fun. That was always fun. At least Chisora comes to fight. Well, I think that's arguable as well. I agree. The fact that I was able to ask questions and communicate with Stiverne, thanks to yourself, builds that connection with the fighter. And I was gutted when he got knocked out in that fashion. Stiverne was like Walters, starved from being active, but I don't his condition. I don't think his condition helped him either. There's lots of people in the room. I'm so sorry. I'm taking my time, but I'm trying to get through to all your questions, points. Hay versus Wilder might be interesting if Hay gets through Bellew. Who want you to close your channel? Well, idiots, but I don't allow haters to be on the chat. I just delete them. Those comments, people swearing and stuff like that. They don't stay on the chat. Don't entertain them. So, Mikey, I felt it when Cameron stopped Sheedy. Ingram actually brought Cameron out of his shell because he gave him time and respect. We learned about Liam's story and he won. I was beyond elated. Nathan says, all the best to Bermane going forward. He suffered a devastating loss. It happens. It's boxing. Wilder can do that to any heavyweight, and that's what I'm saying. He didn't get knocked out by a bum. He got knocked out by one of the best heavyweights in the world, and some people think would knock out Anthony Joshua. So he didn't get knocked out by Joe Bloggs, right? If he got knocked out by Joe Bloggs, devastating like that. So my thing to Stiverne is, look, carry on boxing. Just don't go anywhere near Deontay Wilder. Don't fight Deontay Wilder. Accept your loss, like you said. Take your suitcases and look. Just turn your head the other way. Don't look at Deontay Wilder. If you can't stand him, don't watch the WBC title fights. And just look at go down the WBA route. Take a look down the WBA. See, or go down the WBO route. Go and challenge, fight the WBO champion. Stiverne probably froze that night. It's like that pent up promotion and anger, he just stopped him in his tracks when the bell went. That could be it as well. Condition was very poor, etc. But we all know he didn't look like he believed he could win on the night. Hands up, don't shoot. Says Stiverne, I assume, was on standby right up until the last few weeks. Must be hard motivating yourself. No, he said he was training for Wild all the time, so I can't believe that. Credit to Wilder, though. He did what he was supposed to do against an opponent who was 2 years inactive and out of shape. Exactly. I wouldn't care if you lost, but at least fight. I agree. I understand that. Being out of shape, out of the ring, would have had an effect in the Rossi fight, plus motivation. Just stood there. Mikey, Stiverne's interviews on here, we detected nothing unusual. He looked totally fine, yet didn't employ the tactics of the night, which further just the night got to. This is what, check this out. I interviewed him up to the night before the fight. I even texted him hours before the fight. I said, how you feeling? He said, great. So I'm done. I don't know, and I haven't heard from him since the fight. So I've left him a message and I haven't heard from him. So we'll see. I'd like to see Stiverne versus Dave Allen. I wouldn't. Wilder deserves credit, of course, for what he did. Says there's no excuse. There's no excuse for a millionaire athlete being fat. No sympathy for Stiverne. Stiverne beats Allen. I think he does. Wilder looks sharp. I beat 1 round. But you have to consider Allen's opponents. The white runner can win a Commonwealth at this level, but that's about it. Wilder was devastating because Stiverne stood still. No credit in AJ fighting Stiverne at all. Yeah, good point. So that's where we're at with this. I mean, how many chances has David Price had been blown away? Give Stiverne a chance to trim down and rebuild. Well, I think let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the rebuilding process. That's what I said about the Oranges, the story of Lewis versus Holyfield. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the rebuilding process. So, what would you do if you were Stiverne coming back? Personally, if it was my opinion, I would change my training team. I would like to see what James Bashir could do with Stiverne. I mean, Stiverne Molina, that'd be interesting. If Stiverne was okay up till the dressing room shenanigans, Stiverne still beats White now, LOL. Yeah, Stiverne versus White. That'd be interesting. I'm certain AJ and Wilder won't happen. There are heavyweights who have taken worse defeats to Bermane at lower levels. This was an elite level. A return isn't out of the picture for Bermane. Just needs to make the right changes. I hope you all understand when the same thing happens to AJ. He'll be gone from Hercules to Aladdin real quick. That magic carpet is soon to vanish. Expect the media to turn on AJ the same, exactly the same. A strength and conditioning coach. But he was using a strength and conditioning coach. You know, that's the one thing that really not disturbs me. I wish I was in the States, because if I was in America, I would have gone to the training camp and seen how the training camp would have done. That would have been something I would have seen. I would love to have seen that. I can't seem to prove at 40. That's the truth. Plus, he's been away too long. Slicks, same for anybody. When Wilder is KO, his fans will jump. Sorry to off topic, but do you know when you will be speaking to Jackson? Just curious. Actually, as you said that, I texted him earlier today. I texted him earlier this afternoon, so it'll be soon. I'm also looking to hear back from Byfield. I'll be talking to him as well soon. So yeah, that's going to be that Jackson interview will be soon. I think Stiverne lost the fight when he said he was willing to kill Wilder in the ring. I think he may have got too emotional. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It's weird seeing Bermane look so sharp with head movement drills and a public workout, and then fight like stand there like a ghostly plank paid right into. That's the thing. That's another thing. When I saw him with all the head movement and just something, yes, he's made adjustments. And then I don't know. Just replaying it all over again, it's just making me feel sick all over again. Still think Tyson will beat AJ. Okay, AJ has said it time and time. He will lose one day, so no big deal. Yeah, Mansell versus Kuzmin in Russia. Good fight. That. Yep, good fight. And Mansell still boxing. He must be 50 years old. No, that's Ortiz you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know what to say to you people. I really don't. Guys, do you realize Wilder was the first to talk about killing Bermane? It was. I just wished it was a good fight. Oh dear. It's a hard loss for Main Ingram and the fans take it. It's a hard loss. It's devastating. To come in at £254, all the training is crazy. Yeah, he's underrated fighter. So Mansour's a good fighter. We'll have Mansour on the channel as well soon. But I'd almost kill the ref. We are working to try and get Deontay on the channel, back on the channel as well. So that's something. And we have an influx of new fighters coming in from main events and of course new Evander Holyfield's boxing team as well. So we've got good things in the future happening. But that's I think people will feel better within themselves. I think once Stiverne actually comes out from wherever he is at this point in time, and you need to give him time. I think, maybe a month from now we hear from him. I don't know, maybe before that. But yeah, it does need to explain what happened. And it would be great to hear. It'd be great to hear from him. I think that will be an interview to listen to. That'd be an interview that I'd really want to be doing with him, because I really want to hear what he's got to say. I really will. And Bermane had the face of someone who looks like coming out of the mind control program by handlers. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't say anything, but I'm glad you brought it up. Maybe they wanted to win anything possible. MK Ultra. Do your research, people. I don't know. He looked like a zombie. Let's put it this way. Stiverne should fight Zamana Love, Gary Cornish. Do you think Mansour is a top 30 heavyweight? Yeah, of course I do. The same people kept keeping Tyson out of the ring for 2 years for exposing him. Okay. I just hope Bermane is well. That's all that matters. Yeah, I do. Bermane embarrassed WBC rankings, Don King, and fans. Bermane wins those fights. When Bermane is well, Ingram will get him back on the channel, I'm sure. Bashir said Bermane is the type to come out and face music, just maybe a few months. I agree. Moelda talked about killing Stiverne first, but if both are emotional, something has to give, and Stiverne paid the price. Get Stiverne's coach to speak. Yeah, that is something. Don House. Stiverne would beat Cornish at 500 pounds. Mansour ranked 33, box rec. I can almost quote almost everything he said, and to drop fast in a sack of beans is crazy. I know, and the more you talk about it, the more you think about it. It doesn't. See what it is. There's a disconnect. You've spent all that time training. You've had all that build up. You looked good in training camp. You look good doing their head with the, and then this. I don't want to hear Don House again. Maybe Bermane was threatened by the powers that be. Ooh. The whole conspiracy theory comes out there. Stiverne needs to go to Russia to relearn boxing from Povetkin's coach. I'd like to see Stiverne with Bashir. I really would. Boxing Gossip has Mansour not in his top 30 on his rankings list. All subjective though. Okay. Well, he was beating the shit out of Dominic Brazil and Joel Washington, so I'm not sure. They're in the top 10. Well, they're not. Did Bermane have to get paid for the fight, or did they give him step aside and no money? I don't know. I remember staying awake the night before just to listen. Man, I feel cheated. I know I feel gutted. But I think where the healing might come is when he comes back. If and when he comes back on the channel. I say if because I don't know what state he's going to be in when he comes back. But if he comes back in the channel, it will be one of the. I think it'd be one of the most awaited interviews with a fighter that's got done like that. But for me, what I'm more interested in now is that him coming back. I'd like to, if truth be said, I want to see him with Bashir. The stick dodging exercise where Don House wasn't even aiming for Stiverne's head. How is that helping? Hope he made peace with Windmill. Any word on Price's opponent, 2017, the 12th TBA, I don't know, Essex Bill. Wilder said on a call yesterday he paid step-aside money and the purse. Stiverne is damaged and probably retired because his punch resistance is severely worsened. I don't know what to say about that. I really don't know what to say. I've got no idea what to say. Right. I think I'm kind of going around in circles now. But what I will say is this much. I'll be back at, I'm going to do the Hay versus Bellew preview show. And Bellew was one who's been on our channel before. And then after that, I think evening, David, evening, Ingram, in my opinion, Bermane's heart's not in it anymore at 39. He just hasn't got the drive and motivation needed. Stiverne versus Dubois next. Oh, wow. Wow. Could Dubois do what Wilder did? That's what I'm saying. Taking Wilder 12 rounds and flattening the first. Is that preview on tonight? Yes. I'm going to do that tonight. I'll do the preview of Hay versus Bellew 2. And we're back as well. We're probably going to do a live show with our European correspondent, Eugene. He'll be talking to us about what's going on in Eastern Europe. I don't know if you've seen the Eastern European videos we do. I'll be doing that. I'll be having back on the show to talk Eastern European boxing. So we'll be looking at fighters such as Kovalev and that lot. We'll be looking at that. So that'll be an interesting little show. That'll be at 10 p.m. Charles Martin interview. Oh dear. Oh dear. Charles Martin was meant to do an interview with me, and we never got around to doing it. I agree that Stiverne's punch resistance is worsening. He should retire 5 knockdowns in 3 fights. Is his punch resistance worsening, or is he coming in too heavy? They can't get out of the way of the punches. Yeah, Charles Martin versus Bermane Stiverne. Good fight. I like that. Live from the hood. Shots fired. Right. I'm going to end this now, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. By the way, check out the channel now. I'm going to do some playlists. I'm going to be adding all the live commentaries we've done and kind of do that as a playlist as well. But check out the channel. I've got all our popular videos at the top there, including our last one we did with Tyson Fury. Thank you so much for your support and your understanding. And like I said, when it does show you something that, you know, when you bring people closer to a fighter or to a personality or a public figure and they become closer, the fact that you feel emotionally invested means that we did a good job. We need Bermane and Bashir. I think that might be something to look at. I don't think Don House will be impressed with me. I was re-listening to Nerves vs. Catcher live commentary. I was in tears. I'm sorry to hear that, Mikey. You are a Nerves fan. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah. So that's it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Well, shortly. I'll be doing Hay versus Bellew, the rematch. Thank you all for tuning in and thank you for being understanding. This is BWTM Sports and we're out. Take care.